Hey guys, Rich here with Brotherhood Reviews, and we're back talking about Vinland Saga episode 2 of season 2. And this one just continues on to the journey with Einar. But before we get into that, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more content like this. And here we go. Let's get into it. Now, Einar gets introduced to the rest, to Thorfinn and a few other people that work for him. Also, he gets pretty much the rundown on how his work days is going to be held. The guy that bought him doesn't seem like that much of a bad guy, and he seems understanding as well. So Einar was being harassed, alright, on the work field and given scraps, and he was going to report that to their master. But Thorfinn said that even if you report it and he does something about it, they're just gonna harass them even more. Einar, he sees some beautiful girl and he's like, and changes his mind. At first I thought it was it kind of looked like Thorfinn's sister, but I know it's not. I think it's either one of their workers' daughters or the master's daughter, because I believe the king's son was in her bedroom later on that night. They didn't say her name, so I don't really know. They just look familiar, similar to me, not familiar, so similar to me. But anyways, so that's what happened with them two. Now we cut to like another day, and they're cutting all the wheat down. The first day that they were cutting the trees down along the riverside, I believe he said like to clear a path for like easy access to the river. Now we cut to them cutting pretty much their wheat down. Now they're cutting their wheat down to obviously for bread and all the purposes you need wheat. And their master's son, I think you pronounce it Olma. Yeah, Olma, Olma, I believe. But his son gets upset because his dad keeps yelling at him because he's not doing it right. Then he hops on his horse, rides away, and he says he's going to make a name for himself with the sword. We find out his dad was given that land and the title for helping with the wars and stuff like that, and he seems to be, his father seems to be retired. So that's where, at least this is what it looks like, and he's just like buying up slaves to help him maintain the crops. Everybody seems happy there for the most part. So like they had a big scene where obviously all the men and women were working together, and they seemed pretty happy together. And you couldn't really tell whether or not that was his family that was helping out, or they were all slaves, but they all looked like a mixture that they could be both. So who knows how many kids he really has. He just made it known that the oldest one was his son. Now after all that's said and done, Alma's in a hut with this woman, practicing a sword and saying that soon he's gonna go off to England and help the king fight. The lady he's with is asking how soon is soon, and he kind of spazzes on her. And her parents are pretty much eavesdropping on what's happening and think it's an easy way for their family to, move up in the totem pole. And he pretty much walks out, and they're standing there, and he realizes, calls them out on their stuff, and they're like, no, that's not the case. And he just rides off, meets up with these two drunk workers. I don't know if they're slaves or not. I believe they're slaves because they were talking about trying not to start fights with the retainers again, and the retainers are the guys who were pretty much bullying Enar. So that's interesting too. So we can already tell that the retainers are going to be just a complete nuisance for this whole season. Or not season, but at least however long we're going to be on this plantation. Now after all of that goes down, we cut back to Enar and Thorfinn, and they're sleeping on hay. It looks like in a stable. Could be like a stable or a barn or whatever. And Enar pretty much explains his whole life story to Thorfinn on how he was raided at first by the English, and his father died in trying to protect their land, and then how he got captured. He how he felt that like he felt hopeless, and that he couldn't do anything. But when he got older, and they got raided by the Danes, he felt even more useless because he was a grown man and he still couldn't do anything about it. But Thorfinn he heard the whole thing, but you know Thorfinn, he's a quiet, stoic person. Like, he's not going to address that, at least not right now. So he just laid there, and then Thorfinn had a flashback of when, he watched all the people that he witnessed, his villages burn, his own village burn. So he could relate, So there's that. If I'm missing anything, you guys let me know in the comment section below. But I love this. It's coming out to being a great start, and I hope you guys have a good daytime, night, whenever you guys are listening to this. Thank you.